Welcome to Walking Through the Book of Exodus. I'm your host, Real L. Barksdale. And today, oh my goodness, we'll be looking at the 33rd chapter of the book of Exodus. So get out your Bible, get paper, get pencil, get your iPad, your iPod, get your cell phone, wherever you keep the Word of God. This is a phenomenal lesson as we look closely at the children of God and we learn something about prosperity theology. And so the question I will ask you tonight is, what do you want from God? Is it just a big house, big car? Is it a fancy job? Is it the corner office? Is it the spouse? What do you want from God? What do you really seek God for? All right, we'll look at that in the 33rd chapter. We'll take a second to get yourself ready, then we'll get started. Now, you'll recall last week we looked at the 32nd chapter of the book of Exodus. And in the 32nd chapter, God's people made a big mess of everything. Let's start by going back to the 20th chapter of the book of Exodus so we can see how bad the 32nd chapter was. In the 20th chapter, God talks to the entire nation, not just to Moses. God talks to the entire nation. Before he wrote the 10 commandments on tablets of stone, he talked to the entire nation. And he says, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. Don't do it. I know you came out from the Egyptians, and I know you've seen what the other people do. The Egyptians worshipped everything. They worshipped the sun, the moon, the cattle. They worshipped the water. They worshipped everything they worshipped, except the God of gods. And so when God brings them out from among them, I don't want you to be like them. I'll be your God. You will be my people. Do not create any idols. Do not bow down before anything. Do not make yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven or above or on the earth or beneath in the waters. You shall not. That was clear. That was clear. And in the 32nd chapter, what did they do? Moses had been gone for 40 days, and they start getting restless. You know, it's a bad thing when God's people start getting restless. Don't let time let you forget what God said. And so they said, well, maybe Moses is dead. Maybe we ought to take matters into our own. Maybe we ought to create a God and worship that God that we created. How silly is that? For bringing us out of Egypt. Maybe we ought to create a God and then worship that God. And so they create for themselves a golden calf. And they're singing and they're dancing and they're having revelry. And Moses comes down and sees what has happened. And in the 25th verse of the 32nd chapter, this is what happens. Moses saw that the people were running wild, and that Aaron had let them get out of control and so become a laughingstock to their enemies. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and said, whoever is for the Lord, come to me. And all the Levites rallied to him. Then he said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side. Go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother and friend and neighbor. The Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. That was the 32nd chapter. God's anger had been kindled. And God tells Moses, I'll destroy all of them and I'll build a nation out of you. But see, Moses had a heart for the people. Now, Moses could have been set up, and I don't have to worry anymore of these stiff-necked people. I don't have to try to convince them. I don't have to try to lead them because God's going to work with just me. But no. Moses had a heart for the people. and he convenes with God on behalf of the people. He becomes an advocate for these hard-necked, rebellious people. God, please don't. And if you got to take them, take me too, Lord. That's where we were. And now we come to the 33rd chapter. And the question tonight is, what do you want from God? There's a song that says, "Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning new mercies I seek. All I have needed, your hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me." In the 33rd chapter, we're going to see God's faithfulness. There is no shadow of turning. He doesn't turn. He doesn't change it. When God blesses you, he doesn't. There's nothing that I have done that has made God stop loving me. And that's good news, because I've done some stuff. There's nothing that you have done that has made God stop loving you. And if he said he's going to do something, it's not contingent on what you do, because he knew what you were going to do before he said it. And so that's the situation that we find ourselves in, the 33rd chapter of the book of Exodus. And it reads this way. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Leave this place, you and the people you brought." See, you remember when for those of you who have children, when the child does something bad, you tell your spouse, that's your child. Or when the child does something bad, the spouse will say, that's your child. And so this is what you have going on here at the beginning of the 33rd chapter. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Leave this place, you and the people you brought up out of Egypt, and go up to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel." I'm not coming myself on this one. But I'll send an angel. "I'll send an angel before you and drive out the Canaanites and the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey." Now that's good news right there. We've messed up royally. 3,000 people have died, but God's faithfulness. And see, this is why I have a problem with prosperity theology. Seems like they should be happy now. We're going to get a land flowing with milk and honey. God's going to send an angel to destroy all of our enemies. God's going to honor the promise he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we're going to live in the land. But there's just one problem. Let's continue reading. "But I will not go with you, because you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way." What do you do when you have all that you ever wanted, but you don't have the presence of God? And so the question again tonight is, what do you want? Do you want the promotion? Do you want the house? Do you want the cars? Do you want the clothes? Do you want the lifestyle? Do you want the bank account? Do you want the degrees? What do you want? Do you want the recognition? Do you want the prosperity? And I'm not saying that you can't have that with God, but you can certainly have it without God. And the children of Israel make a wise decision here. God, if we don't have you, the land flowing with milk and honey doesn't matter. The victory over the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Perizzites, it doesn't matter. Lord, if we don't have you. And so instead of rejoicing over what they were going to get, they realized what they weren't going to have, and they said, when the people heard these distressing words, they began to mourn. And no one put on any ornaments, for the Lord had said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. If I were to go with you even for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments, and I will decide what to do with you." So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments at Mount Horeb. Now they're in a situation of repentance. Now they understand the gravity of what they've done. And now they make a choice. Lord, if we don't have you, the prosperity that you promised doesn't matter. Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances to their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of the cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, while the Lord spoke with Moses. It's a wonderful thing to have a daily commune with God. Yeah, I'm the leader. Yeah, I'm the head dog. But I get my peace. I get my direction. I get my reward by speaking directly to God himself. And not only do I speak to God, the most important thing is God speaks to me. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, they all stood and worshipped each at the entrance of their own tent. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young aide Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. You know, it's a good thing to have a succession plan. And we don't see the importance of this small item now, but Joshua would one day be the leader. Pastors, leaders, managers, entrepreneurs, don't wait until the last minute to prepare somebody for your succession. Too often our churches and our organizations are built around a personality, but when that personality is no longer there, the organization falls apart because the personality was the thing holding it together. You better have a successor. And Moses had Joshua. Moses, when something needed to be found, it was Joshua. When somebody needed to be his aide, it was Joshua. When somebody needed to walk by his side, it was Joshua. And all that time, Joshua was being prepared to lead. Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name." Oh, my God. It's a beautiful thing for God to say, I know you by name. In the Old Testament, the name was important. I mean, you weren't named after a chariot, or in the 21st century, a car. My name is Mercedes. My name is Cadillac. My name is Benz. No. Your name spoke of the character of you. And if your name was not sufficient to speak of the character, God would change your name. From Sarai to Sarah, to Abram to Abraham, from Jacob to Israel, God would change your name. Why? Because your name spoke of not only your character, but spoke of God's interaction with you. Moses, I know you by name. And you have found favor with me. If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. I know you said I brought him out, but I'm not conflicted. I know. Pastors, these are God's people. The Lord replied, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." You see, it's the presence of God that gives you rest. It's not the house, it's not the car, it's not the bank account, it's not the degrees, it's not the accolades, it's not sitting at the top of the table. It's the presence of God. Yeah, you can have trouble on every side, but it's the presence of God. You can be attacked by all kinds of weapons formed against you, but it's the presence of God. Then Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us?" See, God has said, I ain't going with y'all stiff-necked people. I'll send an angel. I'm not going with you. I'll live up to my word. You'll have the land flowing with milk and honey. I will destroy your enemies, but I'm not going with you. I will not. And that was a distressing word. Are we distressed when we get prosperity, but God is not with us? And the Lord said to Moses, "I will do the very thing that you have asked. because I am pleased with you, and I know you by name. Then Moses said, now Moses, you're pushing it, Moses. Now, he's already said he'll send an angel. He's already said he'll be with you. He's already said he'll give you the land flowing with milk and honey. He's always said his presence. Moses, stop now. Quit while you're ahead. But Moses was hungry for God. And there's something different about a person that's hungry for God. They always want more. That's one of the ways you can tell if a person is in relationship with God, because they always want more of him. And Moses is not satisfied with just presence. Moses wants more of God. Then Moses said, now show me your glory. And the Lord said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you. You can't handle my glory. But an integral part of my glory is my goodness. I'll show you my goodness. Whether God is punishing you, whether God is correcting you, whether God is admonishing you, whether God is lifting you up, it's all good, his goodness. Moses, I know you by name. I'm going to be in your presence. And because I know you and you found favor, I can't show you my glory because that'll make you die, but I'm going to show you my goodness. I will cause my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But, he said, you cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live. Then the Lord said, there is a place near me where you may go stand on a rock. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back. You will see my back. You will see the trail of my glory. You will see the shadow, the following of my glory. But my face must not be seen, Moses. The question tonight is, what do you want from God? I know we live in an age where prosperity is name it, claim it, grab it, blab it, grab it. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Yeah, that's good. But if you don't have the presence of God, all of that is vanity. What are you seeking? What are you searching for? Please, my brother, please, my sister, don't lose sight of the value of his presence. For in his presence is the goodness of God. I love you. God loves you more. Next week, we're going to look at the 34th chapter of the book of Exodus. You don't want to miss it. God is going to do a repeat on the 10 Commandments. Listen, tell a friend, tell an enemy about our walk through the book of Exodus. And maybe by the time our next week is over, you and your enemy might be friends. See you then. Bye-bye.